do we want? I can't hear you. What do we want? And when do we want it? Why do we want it? Free, free, let's up. Free, free, let's up.
Yes, the Democrat Party has joined the jihad. It's kind of like, I don't know, Lawrence of Arabia through the wrong end of the telescope. Well, happy Monday to you. Was there a jihad rally in your town? There was a jihad rally in my town, Washington, D.C., our nation's capital. An army of jihadis and self-described liberal Democrats, mostly college graduates and or college students. They're not anti-Semites per se. They're racist fluid. You know, they're racist fluid. They're fluid and racist. Your Democrat Party, they're unwell, and a lot of Democrats are raising these people out there in the world. There ought to be a law or something, you know. The Democrats rallied in Madison Square Garden in 1939. They said it was a pro-America rally. Really, it was in support of Adolf Hitler's Socialist Workers' Party in Madison Square Garden, a giant rally. You might have seen the historical film footage from that. It's a fascinating world the Democrats are creating here. And then, of course, there was the giant Klan March in Washington, D.C., another Democrat Party event in 1926. It was September 13th, and thousands of Klansmen, Democrats, the well-dressed Democrat, and they wear their pointed white hats and their white suits. They're flowing, they love to brush up against one another's, the hem of their garments. And Robert Byrd was the exalted Cyclops of the Democrat Party. Not 1926, though. And then Saturday in Washington, D.C., I think in keeping with the Democrat Party tradition, 1926, the Klan March in Washington, 1939, the Nazi rally in Madison Square Garden. And on Saturday in Washington, D.C., the jihadis, because Obama just gave them the nod, the Democrats are pro-jihad. Right? Send Hamas some soup and stews, nourishment to kill the Jews. So working on the Democrat Party chants for them. All right, let's go to some audio. I want to get into politics a bit as well, because Democrats are starting to speak out loud here and there about Joe Biden being the wrong candidate for them in next year's election. Look out, Michelle Obama. She's playing possum over there. Playing possum. Gonna have to knock her out of a tree or something to get Michelle Obama to become the nominee so Barack could move back into the White House and then he wouldn't have to be president. Remember, he said, we have the audio, we played it before, Barack Obama saying that he'd like to, just as a third term, just be able to phone in his presidency but not have to be president. That's what's going on now. And then when Michelle Obama becomes the nominee and wins in a landslide because the news media, and they are the jihad. So then Barack could live in the White House but not have a job, which would be perfect for him. That'd be great. All right, but let's go to some audio here, because there were rallies across the United States of America that were pro-jihad. The Washington Post really didn't cover the story yesterday on Sunday, and of course they didn't cover it today in their paper. They had one short, stupid, illiterate little piece, the bottom of the Metro section, the local news section in yesterday's paper, but they really didn't have much. Oh, and also keep in mind that tomorrow is Election Day in the Commonwealth of Virginia, and it's a big deal. It's a big deal. The Democrats are very spun up because they love abortion. Gosh, do they love abortion. You know how much they love abortion? More than they can say. Really. The Washington Post has a fluff piece today. Virginia's political lab is testing the mood on abortion, crime, and MAGA. Democrats want crime. They love crime. They are criminals. Their sons are criminals. The problem is not our guns, it's your sons. Let's keep that in mind. And MAGA, that's Make America Great Again. The Democrats are here to tear America down, and they would never concede that America was ever great. To make it great again would be a misnomer to them. So it's testing the mood for abortion. God, they love abortion. All the political ads, and we're being carpet bombed here on local TV stations in Washington, D.C., with the God, we love abortion ads. Help us abort everyone, especially the black babies. We're only getting 400 out of every 1,000 now. Please help us kill more. Kill, kill, kill. That's your Democrat Party being bombarded. And they're pro-Hamas, which is a radical Islamic terrorist organization, a genocidal organization dedicated to the extermination of the Jews from the planet Earth and wiping Israel off the face of the map, which is what the chant From the River to the Sea is about, even though they now lie about that too. But that's because they lie about everything. Also in Las Vegas, Nevada, they had a pro-jihad anti-Semite rally. I'm not an anti-Semite. I'm racist fluid, the Democrat Party. And here's what it sounded like in Las Vegas, Nevada.
From the river to the sea. From the river to the sea. Palestine will be free. Palestine will be free.
They love that whole, it will be free. The thing is, if Hamas took over all of Israel, it would be the opposite of free. Right now, it's the freest country in that region of the world where they don't actually hang people for being gay, allegedly, which they do in so many other Islamic countries, but pay no attention to that. When they say it would be free, that's the opposite of the truth, but they're jihadis, and all their friends are lefties. So never mind that. Now, Pramila Jayapal is a Democrat member of the House of Representatives here in the United States of America, not in the Gaza, but here in the United States of America. And she is not on our side. She's not even close to being on our side. Just extraordinary stuff. The New York Times, the New York Post has an actual story. One word explains the ugly hypocrisy of Hamas apologists, : they love their colons, anti-Semitism. And Victor Davis Hanson, writing the piece in the New York Post. There is something surreal, even sick, about the current Gazan war. Throughout European and American cities and campuses, tens of thousands of Middle East immigrants and students and radical leftists chant nonstop, "Free Palestine from the river to the sea." Or there they did that in reverse. More recently, they're also yelling, "Israel, you can't hide. We caught you in genocide." Now, it is, of course, the jihadi groups that are trying to exterminate the Jews. It's the Jews defending themselves, but never mind the facts of the case. Consider the hypocrisy of this dual messaging, says Victor Davis Hanson. Hamas and its supporters are openly and eagerly calling for the genocidal end to Israel by wiping it out from the Jordan River to the Mediterranean Sea. Yet at the same time, they also claim it is Israel that is committing genocide. The very current self-described agenda of Hamas, and it's in its charter, by the way, and the expatriate community of devoted lunatics. And it's truly amazing what we're watching here. And it reminds me of, what's her name, the Obama administration official of the State Department who, under oath before Congress, said, the Soviet Union has a technique where they accuse you of doing whatever they're doing or about to do.
It is classic Russian technique to blame on the other guy what they're planning to do themselves. Victoria
Nuland of the Obama White House, the Obama State Department, and the left, you see, accuses you of doing whatever they are doing. They are eager to commit genocide against the state of Israel. So naturally, they accuse you of committing genocide against the Gazans. The Gazans. Right? They want you to send soup and stew to Hamas nourishment to kill the Jews. That is just, that's your Democrat Party. But let's go to Pramila Jayapal, because she is a supporter of the jihad, and she is a Democrat member of Congress, in good standing with the Democrat Party and the American news media, which is made up largely of useful idiots for the jihad. Pramila, Democrat Congressman Jayapal, talking about Rashida Tlaib, because you see, Rashida Tlaib is out of the closet. She's a Palestinian American. She is a genocidal anti-Semite. She is effectively a genocidal anti-American. She's a radical and an extremist of the first order. And Rashida Tlaib is out there supporting the From the River to the Sea movement, right? She's even got a TV ad that has been produced on her behalf that is supporting the chant and the sentiment of From the River to the Sea, which is quite clearly and unambiguously a call to wipe Israel, the only Jewish state on the planet, off the map, you see. And here is the radical extremist Pramila Jayapal supporting the radical extremist Rashida Tlaib.
Rashida is the only Palestinian-American woman in the United States Congress. I don't think we can say we want diversity of views, but then not listen to what those views are.
Sure. Yeah, that's right. By the way, Pramila Jayapal, who's a radical and extremist, is from the state of Washington. She is elected in the state of Washington by Democrats who are anti-Western civilization in the way they vote and in the way they live and in the way they think. But Pramila Jayapal has a sister, Sushila, and Sushila Jayapal is now running for Congress as well in the state of Washington. Bernie Sanders is a Bolshevik who honeymooned in the Soviet Union with his extraordinarily miscreant wife, who bankrupted that college in Vermont for the first time in the history of the world, bankrupting a college. But Bernie the Bolshevik Sanders is also and he's Jewish, and he's a defender of the genocide of the Jews because he's a leftist first, and first they came for the Jews, but I did not speak because I was a socialist. Bernie Sanders.
Words matter, but what matters more, Dana, is you have a horrible humanitarian disaster that has to be dealt with right now. You call it whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, words matter. Yeah, he's on with Dana Bash, whose ex-husband, Jeremy Bash, is one of the signatories, Obama administration official, that phony, corrupt letter signed by the 51 so-called intelligence community people. And then, of course, there's Rashida Tlaib herself, who in this video that was produced very professionally like a big ad, is actually threatening Joe Biden, saying, your support for the Jews will not be countenanced. We will come for you on election day.
Mr. President, the American people are not with you on this one.
The American people are not with the Jews. From the river to the sea.
Innocent civilians are going to be hurt going forward. I wish.
Yeah, there's a war, moron.
I wish that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, how about all those Jews that were massacred? They were all civilians.
I want to thank President Biden for his unequivocal support.
We will remember in 2024.
We will remember, and she's threatening him. Rashida Tlaib is waging jihad. It's an intra-Democrat Party jihad. They're at war with themselves. It's the left. It reminds me of the rise of the Nazis in Germany in so many different ways. And the National Socialist Workers' Party of Adolf Hitler fought against the communists, and the communists fought against the Socialist Workers' Party of Adolf Hitler. And now lefties, who are mostly fascists themselves these days, they say, oh, well, you know that Hitler wasn't a socialist or a communist because he killed the communists and fought the communists. The communists fought the socialists, and the socialists fought the communists. And try scratching the surface on the 20th century history of Europe, and get back to me when you've removed your head from the dark and remote location into which it has been wedged. There's a lot more. These Democrats, they are the party of jihad, and they are not on our side. You know, your home is so much more than just the place that you live. It's an investment tool, probably your biggest investment. You know, you can put that tool to use and access your equity as cash to pay off high interest debt. You know, you got credit card debt. You see the interest rates they're charging. Did you know that the average credit card is hovering around 25% interest? Thanks, Joe Biden. And listen, if you're not paying that debt off in full every month, those fees are really adding up. You ever going to pay that off? It's, like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. You simply cannot let this continue to happen, which is why you need to look at your spending, your finances, your debt. Better yet, let American Financing do that for you. This is a family-owned mortgage lender that's been helping borrowers save money for almost 25 years, quarter of a century. They must be doing something right? So there's no pressure, no upfront, no hidden fees. And if you start today, you may be able to close in as fast as 10 days and maybe even delay 2 mortgage payments. And they're, saving homeowners just like you an average of $700 a month. That could be life-changing for a lot of us. So call American Financing today and get smart. Call 888-402-0299. That's 888-402-0299, AmericanFinancing.net. NMLS 182334, NMLSConsumerAccess.org. Yeah, the Democrat Party is all in on the jihad now. Hey, Jewish liberals, what is going on in your brains? Good God. Please, wake up, wake up, wake up. Hey, it's Chris Plant, excited to tell you about our July 2024 Listener Sea Cruise. We'll be sailing around the British Isles, visiting Scotland and Ireland. Please join us. Book by this July 31st for extra savings. Visit ChrisPlantCruise.com. I'm going to get back to the Democrat Party, the party of jihad, the party of radical Islam. They are so screwed up in the head that as liberals, they're pro-genocide of the Jewish people and pro-jihad. This is how emotionally tormented they are. I'll give them credit. They're demented. This is madness, of course. And your Democrat Party is on the pointy end of the jihad spear. Now, keep in mind that there have been many Democrat Party suicide attacks in the United States of America in the last few years. And I'm not even counting the self-immolating Earth Day guy at the Supreme Court that set himself on fire and killed himself on account of Earth Day. But the Democrat Party has had suicide attackers shoot Congressman Steve Scalise, murder U.S. Capitol police officer, murder NYPD officers, murder Dallas police officers, murder Baton Rouge police officers, all suicide attacks. Well, I'm on my way. I don't know where I'm going. I've got a bunch more audio for you from the jihadis. The Democrat Party. They're all jihadis. Okay, let's go to some of these crazy people. Well, you know what? I do want to get to this. A guy at this is pretty wild, I've got to say. George Norcross removed from the Philadelphia Eagles game over an Israeli flag. This is the radical left-wing Mediaite has the story. The Washington Post does not. They don't cover the news. They uncover it. George Norcross removed from the Philadelphia Eagles game. Democrat power broker forcibly removed from Eagles game after draping American Israeli flag on private box. Now, this is kind of interesting. Security removed George Norcross from the Eagles game today because he hung an American and Israeli flag outside his box. He's got a private box. He's well-to-do. He's got a lot of cash for the Eagles game. Did they put him in the jail there? Because they still operate that jail. Then they tore down the flag. New Jersey politics boss George Norcross was reportedly thrown out of a Philadelphia Eagles game for displaying an American and Israeli flag. It's kind of one banner, and it looks like it's 4 feet across and 2 feet high, and the American flag on the left, the Israeli flag on the right. Footage uploaded to social media on Sunday shows that a situation unfolded while Norcross, a Democratic South Jersey power broker, was attending the game. I'm finding it hard to believe that a Democrat would support Israel out in the light of day, for fear of being dragged away and lynched by the Democrat Party. So between the Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys, I watched most of the game myself. Norcross was seen inside of a private box at Lincoln Financial Field, where a banner combined the American and Israeli flags was draped over the front. The video shows Norcross being confronted by security officers. Achtung, Achtung, they said. You will take the Jew flag down. You will take it down now. Raus, raus. And so the security people came in. And Philadelphia is not really the city of brotherly love the way that it used to be, but confronted by security officers who seemed to tell him he couldn't show the flag. Norcross was shown being led away, and that New Jersey 101.5 reported that he was ejected from the game after one of the officials removed the banner. The banner will now be removed. Where's your papers? Your papers for the flag, where are they now? Click, click. And it sounded, Newsweek magazine notes that Lincoln Financial Field's policy guidelines says that signs, banners, or similar items that are obscene or indecent, unrelated to the event, potentially offensive to other jihadis or patrons that may block the view of other fans, that are otherwise considered dangerous or inappropriate by the Eagles, are prohibited. Isn't it ironic that, the Philadelphia, the birthplace of American democracy, and you want to put an American flag and an Israeli flag, an American ally that's under attack right now, and they will tear it down. You will not show the flags. And now you will be escorted out. You will leave. Just amazing. And we actually have the audio of the event because, there are cameras everywhere I say.
Feels like the Eagle fans are leaving.
Yeah, right. Oh, wait. Look, they're taking the flag.
They're taking the flag. Sieg Heil, meine Eagles, meine NFL. You will now put on your hobnail boots, and you will worship the NFL. That is kind of a, that's kind of a strange one. There is a war going on, our ally, and these security guys, they come up and they're being a little handsy, hey, don't put your hands up. They're getting a little swipey. Then they rip up the American flag and the Israeli flag like they're fascists. Watching the video. Sieg Heil, meine NFL. Sieg Heil, meine Eagles. No sense of irony, these people. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The Eagles. Why do you think they call them the Eagles? It's a symbol of American liberty and freedom, independence. And here come the fascists. Wow. Speaking of the fascists, let's go to, we'll get to Barack Obama in a moment. Let's go to Griff Jenkins of the Fox News Channel, who was in Washington, D.C. on Saturday, down with the mob of tens of thousands, maybe 100,000 pro-jihad, genocidal anti-Semites, enjoying the full support of the Democrat Party, which means the news media, too. And here's Griff Jenkins down there, and he talks to a guy. Now, this guy looked a little like a jihadi, this first guy. He looked like he's Middle Eastern, and he's angry and bitter. And we have the jihadis, they live among us. They live among us because Democrats, and the Democrats were out there supporting the jihad, the genocide of the Jews, and they will not allow the American flag and the Israeli flag to be flown. Griff Jenkins talking to a jihadi in Washington, D.C. on Saturday.
Do you condemn Hamas, or do you support their efforts?
Do you condemn 75 years of occupation? That's the answer.
That's not actually an answer, sir. That's completely non-responsive. You didn't respond to my question at all. So I take that to mean that the Jews are guilty of occupation and must be expelled from the Palestine. You know, this whole idea of Palestine is a bit ridiculous. The Ottoman Empire, which was a, Turkish-based Muslim empire that had conquered by the sword vast tracts of land and subjugated many millions of people, also controlled what is now Israel. And at the end of World War I, where the Turks were on the side of the Germans, right, and we were on the side of the British, and we were driving the Ottoman Empire out. They had occupied Greece for 400 years, the Ottoman Empire, very brutal. And at the end of World War I, the so-called League of Nations, after the Ottoman Empire had been driven out of the area now known as Israel, the so-called League of Nations, which later failed, and then we tried again with the United Nations, and that's already failed, and we should turn that building into condominiums. But the mandate for Palestine was a creation of the League of Nations for British administration of the territories of what were then called Palestine and Transjordan. Now, that's Jordan, because the country of Jordan exists now, but they were all transgender. That's obviously not true. I'm only kidding. Transjordan. So why not Transjordan? Maybe the so-called Palestinian people should go to what was Transjordan, where their Arab Muslim brethren would welcome them with open arms and then push the detonation device. But never mind that. So the Palestinian Mandate was created in 1918 after the Ottoman Empire was driven out. And the British, they administered under the League of Nations that region, which was rudderless without the Ottoman Empire to govern as they did by the sword and by the hobnailed boot. So the mandate was assigned to Britain by the League of Nations at the San Remo Conference. San Remo in 1920. And I've been to San Remo. It's very nice city. I'd recommend it highly if you're in the area. So the San Remo Conference, April of 1920. And it's, and then Israel, the United Nations, 1948, after World War II, the United Nations created the State of Israel because the Germans and the French and others had attempted to exterminate the Jewish population from Europe, where they were apparently not as welcome as they would have liked. And so maybe go back to the land of Abraham and Moses, where they will be safe. But the troglodytes from hell that are they're still dwelling in pits. Now they're tunnels underneath the Gaza. But the pit and cave dwelling prehistoric murderers of radical Islamic Jihad, in this case, the Palestinian Islamic Jihad and Hamas, and then you got your Hezbollah up in the north, and Hezbollah would kill the Palestinians on sight too, just by the way. But never mind that. History is constantly evolving. So there's Griff Jenkins, 75 years of occupation. The United Nations, and they got rid of the British Mandate, which had been in effect since 1918. And what, you want to go back to the British colonial control of what is now Israel? And these idiots are so dumb, they think, well, I'm a liberal, so I want the Palestinians to be in control of Israel because Israel's a fascist state, man, when in reality, of course, Israel is the liberal state and the Gaza is the fascist state. But they're too stupid, too ignorant, too ill-informed, uninformed, misinformed to understand what they're actually advocating. Griff Jenkins in Washington, D.C. on Saturday talking to self-described liberals about the very existence of Israel.
Exist?
There is no Israel. Israel is a fascist state. Yeah, and I'm anti-fascist.
You're going to breed Hamas when you continue to keep occupying the people. Hamas will be everywhere when you continue to keep occupying the people. That's it.
Israel is a fascist state, and I'm anti-fascist, says the white, liberal, Democrat, voting, Biden-supporting, Obama-loving, Hillary Clinton suck-up, who's probably a journalist or something. And down there, Israel's a fascist state. No, Gaza is a fascist state. Israel is a liberal state. But you are so profoundly ignorant and misguided, sir. And one of them said, well, there is no Israel. Well, that's obviously delusional and incorrect. Is there a France? I want to see if he's aware of the existence of any countries. Is there a Japan? There is no Israel. No, 75 years of occupation. Israel is a fascist state. I'm anti-fascist. You're anti-intellectual. Just extraordinary stuff. Griff Jenkins doing good work down on Pennsylvania Avenue, and then in front of the White House, where they vandalized the White House and spray painted, and they put their bloody handprints on the wall in front of the White House by the Northwest Gate. They're clawing through the gates like troglodytes, and they're Democrats and other jihadis.
The U.S. points to Hamas in Gaza and say they're terrorists. Do you agree?
That's unacceptable.
That's unacceptable. And then he pressed the detonation cord, and he blew himself up. And tragically, Griff Jenkins had bloody meat thrown all over him by this guy. And the guy, he sounds reasonable, don't he? That's unacceptable.
Do you agree?
That's unacceptable.
What's unacceptable? That Hamas is a terror group? It's identified as such by every organization on the planet. And then, of course, you're Democrats. Their women scream the best, don't you think?
What do we want? I can't hear you. What do we want?
Mental help.
What do we want it? What do we want it? Free Gaza. Free Gaza. Free Gaza. Free Palestine.
Gaza was free until October 7th, and then they murdered 1,400 people and took hundreds of people hostage, and they're still holding hostages. And they were free, and they elected Hamas, a radical Islamic terror group, as their government. And then they attacked the country next door, which is superior in every way to the Gaza, in every way. And now they're having their kufis handed to them. That's that hat that Muslims wear, the kufi. Now let's go to Barack Obama, because he's not on our side. He did this radical left-wing podcast, which is hosted by two of his former administration officials. And he is, on the one hand and on the other hand, feed the Nazis.
What Hamas did was horrific.
Horrific?
And there's no justification for it.
Mm-hmm.
And what is also true
Racist.
Is that the occupation and what's happening to Palestinians,
he doesn't recognize,
is unbearable. And what is true is that there are people right now who are dying
who have never died before.
Nothing to do with what Hamas did.
God, he's annoying. I so don't miss his tone of voice. So wait a minute, the occupation. So he doesn't believe in the legitimate existence of the state of Israel. He calls it an occupation, like these lunatic, bloodthirsty, ghoul, jackal jihadis that flooded Washington day before yesterday.
The problem with the social media and trying to TikTok activism and trying to debate this on that is you can't speak the truth.
You can't?
You can pretend to speak the truth.
You can't?
You can speak one side of the truth.
You're a Democrat.
And so if you want to solve the problem, then you have to take in the whole truth. And you then have to...
A smattering of applause.
Admit...
Oh, the whole truth.
Nobody's hands are clean.
Nobody's hands are clean.
All of us are complicit.
We're all complicit.
To some degree.
No, we're not. That's a lie. That's not true. My hands are clean. America's hands are clean. We're not all complicit. And he referred to Israel as the occupation, which is the same language used by Al-Qaeda. Remember when ISIS grew under Barack Obama from 4 guys in a van to a caliphate the size of Great Britain, and then President Trump wiped them out? Albert Einstein said, The right to search for truth implies also a duty. One must not conceal any part of what one has recognized to be the truth. I like Einstein's quote a lot better than Barack Obama's.
I need you louder.
Repeat after me. It is right to rebel. Israel can go to hell.
White liberal Democrat college students who are suffering from gender dysphoria because of the Democratic Party and very severely mentally ill army that the Democrat Party has fielded here in the United States of America. This is all Democrat Party. It is the zombie apocalypse. And if you vote Democrat, you want more murder. You want more war. You want jihad here and around the world. You're a genocidal anti-Semite. You know, a Democrat. You love the Klan and the Nazi Party. 1920 this and 1930 that. And now here we are in the 21st century, and the more things change. All right, let's take a phone call. Let's go to let's go to Greg calling from Olympia, Washington. Gregory, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Hey, Chris, do you think that this following brief explanation could stop the river to the sea wailings? Okay, listen. In our nation's history of films and TV shows, you never see the good guy return the bad guy's gun or take the handcuffs off the bad guy until he knows it was safe to do so. Now, the minute Palestine was, quote, freed, Israel would go on death watch.